life is inherently a win-win-win-win-win, whatever, win-win proposition. There is no loss. Everything just is. And so why do we, feels like for me, like waste all of my time, squander away with thought of fear of loss and like pretending there is something to lose and like there's a better decision to make instead of just jumping in the river, folks. The way of the water, Avatar. What's the thing? Something about water. Be like water. That's probably what I'm looking for. The Great River. I just hesitate to jump in it because I think there's some logical best or better decision that can be made through analyzation, you know. But everything is win-win. You're not even, some folks would debate if you are actually even making decisions or just experiencing what is unfolding through the temporary eyes of this body you categorize as you. That gets kind of abstract. That's not quite where we're going in this video. This one's about just trying to realize it's all a win-win. And the main sense I think about this is like whatever failure or rejection or loss or not living up to some standard you are fearful of, running out of time, like not doing what you feel you should or are supposed to do in this life, in this year, in this whatever. You know, that's what all the fear comes from. Ultimately, a fear of death, because you wouldn't have fear if you're like unlimited time. Then there's nothing to fear, of course, because there's no like deadline approaching that you feel you need to figure whatever out by, or you don't have time to fail because we're going to run out of time, you know. So that's all that fear comes from. But whatever biggest failure you're imagining or worried about is still a win. Like the only reason you're thinking it's not a win is because you're creating some arbitrary ladder of valuable experiences and like placing this bum, the person making less salary or less advanced in their career or whatever is a worse experience than someone who supposedly figured it out and is doing well and has the newest Jeep or whatever. I don't know. Jeep's not a great example there. You get it. It doesn't have the token, the social token to prove they are doing well. But it's all experience. And like in many ways, the worst, whatever we would consider the worst experiences or lower on the ladder, is so much more interesting and perhaps valuable to be faced with less like comfort and stability in this experience. And it seems like you would learn so much more in whatever greater journey or whatever this place even is. And whatever, I know it's like hard. Suck it up and be poor, because that's actually good. That's whatever. That's not really what I'm getting at. We're not going to talk. I am not smart enough to talk like politics and systems of improving people's whatever worldly circumstances. That's kind of out of my wheelhouse. I don't even really have a wheelhouse. I just talk, folks. I just talk next to the fire. Look at this fire. It's getting a little warm. We're gonna have to keep our eye on that. We'll keep this video short. The fire got a little too out of control here, but that's just a very valuable way I've come to look at things. And whatever, you know, maybe it's just cope and it's just imaginary, and you're right, and like our brains are just finite arrangements of particles which exploded from nothing a long time ago. And maybe that makes sense to you, and that's your worldview, and that's great. I can't get my head around that worldview, or like how matter would ever create awareness currently. I haven't found an explanation of that makes much sense to me. So I fall more in the camp of there's something bigger going on here, and like there's nothing to fear in whatever happens to this thing we think is us in this current temporary experience. Is how I'm categorizing things currently, because that feels more logical and more in tune with like intuition and the entirety of accumulated human wisdom and tradition and logic and reason and whatever. And I know not everyone feels that way, and that's fine. And like, whatever. I'm not here to really talk about that specifically. Obviously, that's not really something. It's so abstract and philosophical. Those aren't things you can just like talk about and convince people of, or need to. But I guess I'm just talking more from if you already are in some kind of camp that is not whatever. I think you get it. Probably didn't need to explain that. And I don't know, it feels like waste a lot of days. Folks, I'm not optimizing my life. I need to optimize for Q4. That's what I'm talking about. But it's just not like a productivity optimization necessarily. It's just like squandering sentiment and thought caught in these loops of pretending things are win-lose, and like decisions have ultimate stakes. You know, like for a personal example, like every rejection or relationship or situation that didn't work out, you know, maybe the way I'd hoped or imagined from the start, everything, like looking back, it's insane. Like, that's probably how it always is, but like, I can't imagine like being with that person, or, you know, like if that had worked out, like it feels like that would be so bad in relation to like this open, I don't know, we won't really get into that. I just feel like I'm in a very good creative space and opportunity here, and it's all the result of the past and like things on every front that have gone maybe well, and a lot that hasn't gone the way, you know, I supposedly hope it would have. And like, where would I be if everything went perfect, how I wanted in the moment, you know? And I don't think it would be nearly as like an open and powerful place to try from, and like whatever, like a family and that whole arena has all of its own value, but it's just different. Like nothing is better, nothing is some end point trophy that you work towards and like, okay, I got it, I won experience, and I'm safe, and I have everything. A couple of troopers, or those work vehicles, I don't think they police the folks. We're paranoid on seatbelt laws. We're not looking for a $120 ticket. Oh, they're just work vehicles anyways. Spooking ourselves out for no reason. Maybe that's folks, that could tie into it. Spooking ourselves out for no reason. Look at that. We're just making art here on the commute. Why do I spook myself out for no reason when there's nothing to lose? What would be lost if I got pulled over and got a seatbelt ticket? Nothing. It probably would have taught me a lesson and like prevented me from dying in a horrific accident tomorrow, because I'd be like, well, they might still be patrolling, so I'm just gonna wear my seatbelt the whole drive. You know, for example, that's just one of a trillion examples I could come up with. And I don't know. Again, I think I was kind of getting at earlier, it's very hard to put this into practice and like live with this realization, because that's probably just life, you know. Unless you're some monk master who's transcended the basic tenets of life and decision making, which is all life is. Which is all like experience is. It's just like a big series of decisions. It seems like that feel meaningful and like give structure to the whole thing. Hey, there's an actual trooper. Look at that. Now we're prepared. There's nothing he can get us on. We're in a work zone. We're going well under the work zone speed limit. He's got nothing to say. That's right. Stay put, buddy. We love the boys in blue. I would never call them buddy. That's only something I would do in the security of my own vehicle here. I would not about to buddy an officer face to face. So, something I'm working through. It's a great morning, folks. The sun's shining. We're going off to run some errands, do some work. And I think it'll be a good day. And every day, I should think will be a good day, because everything is good and there is no bad or loss. So that's the way I'm trying to think about it. Even if just for 1% a day, that would be an improvement probably. So yeah, there's nothing to lose. It's all a win-win situation. We'll see you next time.